Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 122nd edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Thai Boy number three's number one fanboy, Jaden.
I thought that was Liam. Am I taking his place?
No. Thai Boy number three deserves it. But wasn't there... What were they... They had a weird name, right? There was one particular
Oh, come
Thai
on!
boy
You
in this
can't, you
film.
can't, you can't start the episode by saying Thai kids have weird names.
Well, they did in the film. Like, there was that one... Was he called Arm or something?
Yeah.
Arm.
He
Yeah,
was the captain, right?
that's right. And then I made the incredible joke that, up next is leg, So good. So funny. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we don't have too many Thai listeners that just took offense to, your naming conventions and all that sort of thing. I don't know how it works. Could it be a situation where it's like Bali? I know in Indonesia, they like firstborn, son, like everyone gets the same name, no matter what. You basically just named firstborn son, basically, I think it's like, I don't know, it's like, have we had this conversation before? I feel like I've had a huge deja vu.
I know. I don't think so.
No?
Not with me.
It's
Anyway,
like,
no.
I think it's like YN. Like every first son is named YN or some shit. And that's why everyone in their mum's called YN. But then often they'll go and choose their own name as well. Like, oh, but I'm YN, but I just want to be called Brad,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if like Arm is like the equivalent of YN or whatever, or like if I'm just basically trying to figure out if the parents thought it was a good name.
Perhaps it means something more, in Thai.
Maybe they just like really have a lot of spiritual gratitude for limbs and like really respect them. I don't know.
That's also entirely possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you actually?
I feel like we all
have you been to Thailand? Like, are you like our residential expert on Thailand?
I mean, I guess I have been to Thailand twice. Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool. I can say as Thai expert, I've been there for a total of probably 14 days in my life, that this film is very Thai authentic. Passes the test.
It's like 0.37% of your life. That's good enough.
Yeah. Oh, it's better than nothing for sure. I mean, I'm basically fluent, so it was great. All that early section where all they did was speak Thai was really great for me.
Oh no, I can't believe, dude, when they're speaking Thai in a film set in Thailand, oh my god.
Wait, what?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, good.
But I did, because it was a Ron Howard film, I kind of did expect them to speak English off the bat. But
yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I did. It was a note of mine as well. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's hang on. Let's calm down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is 13 Lives, which was uploaded to Amazon Prime on the 5th of August, 2022. It's directed by Ron Howard. It is an adventure biography. And the synopsis says, calling this an adventure, it's one way to put it, I guess. The synopsis says, a rescue mission is assembled in Thailand where a group of young boys and their soccer coach are trapped in a system of underground caves that are flooding. Yeah. So it's based on that true story of that thing that I just described that actually happened. So yeah, Jaden, what did you think of 13 Lives?
I was actually quite shocked by it. Going into this, I was like, who the hell wants to see, this a recount of just kids getting trapped in a cave? But I was shocked by how engaged I was. I think it's like the most engaged I've been by a film in a while.
Oh wow, huge!
Just because there was never an urge for a distraction, whereas I don't know, every other past few months, I reckon everything else I've been watching, there's always let me look at something else. But no, it was quite good, and the whole reveal that they used anesthetics was a reveal to me, because I didn't know that. I genuinely thought they taught them how to swim out. I was like,
right,
yeah, because I didn't really follow the thing too carefully, because I was like, it's Thai kids trapped in a cave. Why do I care? But no, it's good.
Cool. Yeah. I really liked it too. I think it's really, I don't know, the best possible version of what you could imagine a movie about this subject matter to be in your mind. The Thai Caves Rescue, remember that? They made a movie about it. Oh, really? Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's exactly what you think it is, but the best version ever. You can't really fault it. And I think that comes down to Ron Howard being a great director, and I don't know, sort of being one of those Spielberg-esque guys, where they have just such
Yeah.
fundamentally sound filmmakers in every way that you can't really fault anything in its execution at all, and it's really just well done across the board, really, really solid. So, yeah, no, I was really into it too. It's also sort of longish,
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
I was shocked when I saw 2 hours and 2.5 hours. I was like, dude,
did you have a bit of apprehension of I was like, oh,
I did,
I
and
did
that's why
too.
also the engagement shocked me because I was like, holy shit,
Yeah,
I still felt its length. Like there was times where I'd pause it and see what, fucking an hour left. What are they doing now? But
right.
it wasn't bad.
I mean, it is sort of inherently repetitious. Like they're swimming
Mm.
up and down this goddamn tunnel cave the whole time, up back and forth. But yeah, I mean, no, I only brought that length up to say that you didn't really feel it that much. I thought it was paced really well. I thought it was quite refreshing how quickly it felt like the rescue efforts were moving along. Like within the first 10 minutes of the film, it feels like you get a very brief introductory scene to the soccer team. You have to have the scene where they're playing soccer before everything unfolds, and you get a scene with their parents, and then you're sort of right into it. Like it's sort of they walk in, and then it's sort of within the span of a few minutes, sort of has multiple significant time jumps by hours, where it's sort of just like now it's 5 a.m. Now people are turning up. Now it's like the next day, and sort of Colin Farrell has sort of been called pretty quickly. I appreciate that. It sort of just moves quite nicely. So I don't know, for me anyway, that really I think helped with my engagement overall. Like it's always moving from one thing to the next, and I just think overall, the story. I don't know. I mean, I want to get your take on this if you didn't follow it as closely. I think I knew about the anesthetic thing, um, but I wasn't actively thinking about it. But when it came up, I'm like, oh yeah, that rings a bell. But I think my main takeaway was the story is really interesting enough to justify the movie's existence. I think the whole anesthetic plan, bring that up by itself is great because that plan is wild and it sounds wild. And when it's brought up in the film, it's like Joel Edgerton thinks it's wild. And it's not one of the. I totally believe that it's wild because I'm like, that sounds insane. Legit. Like, you're going to inject all these kids. And the part where, you have to keep topping up their level of intoxication and you have to, the divers have to do it in the conditions they're doing it in, and they have to do it every half an hour, I think they said. And the divers aren't doctors, all this sort of shit. Like when Joel Edgerton was like, "Oh yeah, a bit too much, and it's a disaster, and a bit too little, and they're going to wake up and probably kill themselves." It's like Jesus Christ. So that thing alone was totally insane. I can't imagine how nerve wracking that'd be to inject the first kid when they tie them up as well. That
Yeah,
shit's
no. Imagine watching your mates
yeah.
get tied up and just fucking put to sleep, and you're like, "That's me next."
Yeah, no, totally. That's why
They make a point
that's
of
why I'm
that,
turned away.
trying to turn away, but then they start watching it in the end. I'm like,
Yeah, that whole thing was nuts. But no, so the point I'm trying to make is that for me, a lot of films based on true stories and this sort of thing, they either don't interest me often because either you know what's going to happen, which I sort of did for this, well, obviously, but it's either that and that leaves me disengaged, or it's just the fact that the story just isn't that interesting in my opinion. I sort of feel that with a lot of true stories where I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is kind of I'd like to watch a half an hour documentary on this event, but I'm not really here to watch an over dramatized version of it for
a
2.5
special,
hours. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's spot on. Yeah, I don't need a 2.5 hour movie on this. I don't know, dumbass little event. Like some tsunami or some bullshit. You know what I mean? But this was genuinely interesting and engaging to see unfold, I thought. And yeah, was that the main reason you were totally engaged in it, do you think? Or?
Yeah. And also the cast. When people kept on rocking up, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know you were here. I thought Viggo Mortensen was the only big star I thought was in here, and I thought it was gonna be a B-rate movie where he's just taking something for the money. And then Colin's there, and Joel rocks up. I'm like, what's going on?
Joel does just rock up. That's totally true. Oh my god, we made a joke. My dad made a joke because they mentioned, Wait, what was it?
Dr. Harry or whatever.
They say that's right. So they say Dr. Harry. They mention him, and then my dad somehow knew that. Oh, that's the Australian guy. Like knew him IRL, and then he made the joke. Oh, Hugh Jackman. It's going to be Hugh Jackman, and
Not a bad
like
shout. Yeah.
it was just like, oh, no, it was just a joke, and I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty funny. And then when it pulled up and it was Joel Edgerton, I thought it was funny because I was like, yeah, if you'd have actually asked me who do you think it's going to be, Joel Edgerton would be in like my top three guesses, you know, like, oh, okay, an Aussie guy's about to rock up. And if I were to think about it, I just thought it was funny that it actually sort of was just Joel Edgerton. I was like, oh, of course. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But yeah, I mean, another main thing for me was I should have just known that Viggo Mortensen had it in him to do a killer British accent, right? Because, I mean, he did it all Lord of the Rings, but somehow, for some reason, I was surprised that it was so good. But I feel like I shouldn't have been surprised, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. What's his
No?
natural accent like?
He's just American.
Is he Yankee?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually
I
surprised by
thought so.
Colin Farrell as well. Just felt a bit different to what he's
Same.
done in the past. I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, no, 100%. Him as like like
Just a
Colin
dude.
Farrell just playing a. That's exactly what I was about to say. Like Colin Farrell just playing like a dude, a suburban dad, was like surprisingly entertaining for me because I'm so used to playing these like over the top eccentric characters and all this sort of shit. Like it was great. I really enjoyed it. But I'll go to some trivia here. He plays I don't know, God, how do you say his surname? John Valanthan is the guy who plays the diver. Colin Farrell and John Valanthan frequently spoke over Skype, and you know, expect this from Colin. Farrell took up distance running, which is a hobby of John's. At the end of the shoot, Farrell completed the Brisbane Marathon. Good for him.
Yeah, nice.
Because they shot a lot of this on the Gold Coast. Oh, maybe all of it, but yeah, good for him. I just thought it was funny, like Colin out there doing some method acting for playing a dude, like. Like I really need to inhabit the role of this just regular British guy. But yeah, good for him. Good for him. I totally agree with the acting and the cast. Everyone was really good overall. Who the hell is that other guy though? There's that other guy on the team, that other
The
British
younger
guy.
one,
Yeah, and he sort of
Chris or
reminds me
whatever.
of. It was yeah, that was his name. He reminds me of Lucifer, but I don't know if that's actually him.
I did have a look at him, and he was in something, which is obviously a great description.
I'd seen him before, but do you know what I mean? Where he looks like the guy who plays Lucifer, but I don't think that is the same person.
He's in Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh yeah, and he's in Death on the Nile too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's right. That's right. I had seen him around. Yeah. Yeah, he was good too. You know.
But he is not Lucifer. I can confirm that.
Am I alone there? Sure. Like, do you see the resemblance?
A little bit, but not really.
It was enough for me when I saw him. I was trying to figure out how I knew him. Lucifer came to mind. I was like, is it
Because you've
Lucifer?
watched all 5 seasons of that show. Yeah.
All of it, yeah. No, I've never seen a second of it, actually. I see the poster. I might have seen clips, I don't know. But yeah. No, he was quite good. And then to bring up, I don't know how much more we have to say about it really, but I just wanted to say I completely agree with your assessment of being surprised that Ron Howard went so far into the Thai language because, I don't know, I feel like there's a very good chunk of this movie that's all subtitles and all just Thai actors doing their thing, and I really enjoyed that about it, actually. I would have definitely thought that he would have made an effort to make sure everyone speaks English beyond like they do the movie thing, which I don't really like, where it's like, oh, we're in a foreign place and all the characters speak English except they just sort of occasionally throw in like a phrase or something from their native language just to remind you that they're not actually, you know what I mean, when movies do that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they just throw in like a word here and there or whatever. But no, it was just a lot of Thai, a lot of speaking Thai here, which I enjoyed. But mainly in the first, like, I feel like the first half an hour, there's like barely any English at all.
Yeah.
So I dug that. Felt very authentic, very nice. I feel like there's a lot to say about. Does anything come to mind for you right off the bat when it comes to sort of the technical aspects that make the tension work, you know, or just like the diving scenes or anything like that? Because I feel like there's a lot there.
How did they shoot that? I guess is the question.
Excellent question.
In
They
a tank, or like I assume it'd be in a tank, and they just dress it up a bit. But like, it does seem like they have a few locations. So I mean, like, I guess they just spent their money well.
So it was all constructed. I don't have the trivia in front of me, but I read it. It was a warehouse, a big warehouse, and they basically constructed everything, like the little pools and the tunnels and all that sort of shit, sort
Yeah.
of throughout. And it was like really expansive and really long. So they were like the actors talked about how like rigorous the swims were and all that sort of stuff because they did their own they did their own stunts. Um, which
Oh
is
really?
which is funny to say. Yeah, yeah. Vigo and Farrell were saying how this is like some of the hardest stuff they've ever done on set and stuff, like doing all these dives and all that sort of shit. It was pretty nuts. Like it's sort of funny actually. Like I respect that. Sort of the way it comes across when you watch it is that you sort of feel like they could easily get away with just not having bothered with it. You know what I mean? Because they're always wearing masks and like
I thought every time they had a mask on, they swapped it out with the double.
apparently not. Apparently not.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, it was that, and also just combined with like, I think the film's tension's really good, and everything underwater is really good. But it's also like they're in these really confined spaces. I feel like it's really easy, or would be quite easy to shoot it in a way where it's like, you know, if you're there on the day, it's not that intense. Like we're just sitting in a pool here, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll just get this close up here, and you sort of just put it together in the edit to make it feel tense, you know. But
Yeah.
apparently, like it was actually really difficult to shoot. Apparently, like they really were doing these like extended swims like through this goddamn pool thing they built. I was like, oh gee, that made it. I was impressed by that. I thought it was cool.
Mm.
And I guess just speaking about that, like I thought all the underwater cinematography was really good, really contributed, like just the tightness and claustrophobia just really comes across nicely. Which I think, if any, I mean, that's the one thing that you really want to convey in this because, you know, there's nothing that exciting that happens per se. You know, there's no like we call it like stunt doubles. There's no stunts in the traditional like what you'd think about it sense. There's no like crazy sequences of, you know, I don't know, like any crazy. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No. What are you trying to say?
There's
There's no.
no like. Mm, there's no like explicit, like obvious feat of a character doing something that's incredible to behold. You know what I mean?
Oh right.
It's like the whole thing is just intense and slow and impressive in itself. And when you know, hear about the story and you hear, oh my God, these guys had to swim in these conditions for 7 hours each way. And that's like, gee, that's wild. That's crazy. But like, how do you sort of convey that, put that on screen in a way that's engaging, in a way that's built with tension still? And the only way you can really do that is by making sure the tightness really comes across, and the anxiety really comes across. And I think they nailed that totally. I think they nailed it in the way it's shot and also like the performances as well. Like I really like some of the quiet moments that the characters have where they sort of have like a few of the characters have moments of breaking down. Um,
Mm.
Throughout the film, like Colin Farrell has one. Sort of maybe I don't know in the third act, sometime he sort of just comes up and he's like just sort of quietly losing his mind a little bit. Same goes for Lucifer. He has that too.
Oh yeah.
Well, when yeah, that one because that's the one where he's sitting on the outside and he's got the kid there, and he was afraid the kid wasn't breathing or something. That was
Yeah, he just had a bit of a shock because like the thing broke on him.
that's right. He lost
Yeah.
the line or something.
Yeah.
The line broke. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a really nice scene actually. I really liked that scene. It felt really real. Um, like his performance and everything. Like him trying to like he didn't like spill his guts or anything. He was just sort of like needed a moment and Vigo like basically convinced him that you know you should wait for Joel Edgerton and then Joel Edgerton like everyone was just really nice to him. I really appreciate that. It felt like a genuine moment like, that you'd capture. Like Joel Edgerton was like, "Yeah, it's fine. I'll finish it. Yeah, it's fine."
Yeah.
It was like, "Yeah, that's really nice." Like you didn't need to go on this whole like monologue about how difficult this is right now or whatever. Like it totally came across. It was really nice. Where the hell was I going? Oh, the tension and stuff. Oh yeah, when it built to that
Oh
guy
yeah.
hitting his head on the goddamn when that guy that was pretty nasty.
Yeah. I thought a lot of the tension wouldn't be there because we know that obviously all 13 make it out alive, and there was never a tragedy really surrounding it. So then when that guy kind of carks it halfway through,
Yeah, for sure.
Saman, and whatever his name was,
That sounds right.
I was shocked and kind of added something that, I mean, it sucks to say because it's a real thing, but it added, it needed, it like, in terms of storytelling, it's an important event to kind of remind you of, like, this is very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because, I assume most people going in know that no one died out of the main group. Because I didn't know that this guy died. So I think, like, having like that reminding of that, reminding of the risk that is there is, like, significant to building the tension then later when they start, like, actually extracting the boys.
No, totally. It's that one extra thing. Like, the film technically does a great job of all that already, and it's just that one extra sort of plot beat. Plot beat on a real thing that happened, but you know what I mean. It's that one extra element that really sort of nails it home. That this is all very dangerous and worth considering very carefully, which is really important, especially when, I mean, just throughout the whole thing, but especially when you're in the scenes where, like, the governor, they're all sitting around, the governor has to make decisions about how to approach. And that reminder that literally lives are on the line here.
Yeah.
Is important. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, like, the way the whole thing is just, like, structured, like the fact that it's just, like, local governors are kind of the head of them all, of, like, everything is just odd to me.
Sure.
Like, he has the say and he's kind of responsible for it all. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess, is he state governor? I don't know. I guess Dan Andrews was to head up to the Macedon Ranges and just be like, it's all my job. It wouldn't surprise me, I guess, but, like, it just felt a bit out of place.
No, that is weird. Yeah, because you assume he's just a politician.
He didn't even seem like a significant one at all.
No,
like, he seemed like a city mayor type guy, not a,
Yeah. Because he reported to who was the other guy that came in and bossed him around?
Some other, was he the prime minister or was he just a minister?
No, I think he was just like a rank above him.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. Yeah, no, but for real though, like, it legitimately felt like the town mayor had to deal with this shit and, like, make safety assessments and all this sort of stuff. It's like, dude, like, like, maybe get someone else better here. But thank God that turned out okay. But yeah, were you a fan of like, every time? I thought this was quite good. Every time, like, the motion graphics came up and sort of explained the geography of
so good.
Of the distance and, like, what exactly where everyone is at each time, and I thought that was great.
Like, little diagrams like that, I love them because, like, it reminds me of shit I have to do with, like, my, like, uni coursework, because, like, because that kind of, like, technique of just, like, having, like, a simple kind of, like, line diagram and just kind of emphasizing key points is something that we use in, kind of architecture, where you have, like, your kind of main render of, like, your thing, and then you have, like, a series of, like, wireframe diagrams or just, like, line diagrams that you've to kind of overlay on it, and it just looked like that, and I was like, hey, this is banging. I was like,
yeah, that's funny. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a really good addition. They were, like, very well inserted to, again, just, like, remind you of not just the danger, but particularly the distance and the time. Like, every time, it never got lost on me. Like, every time, it happens probably like 10 times or something, but that it comes up on the bottom of the screen, like, how long that swim took.
Yeah.
Every time, I'm like
7-hour swims. Like, that's
insane.
Ridiculous.
Every single time it came up, it had the effect of, like, Jesus, really? like
that's like 14 injections for those boys, for each boys. Do you know how much ketamine that is?
No.
That's enough for, like, one person in the deck.
Really?
I'm joking. That's just because
no.
I'm just describing the deck as a K-hole, but it's a shit ton of ketamine.
That's wild. I don't know. I still can't get over that whole thing. It's kind of crazy. But I feel like the diagrams, especially for the time lapse, like, really service it in terms of, I feel like other scripts would have it where, like, the time elapsed is, I think it's so important to emphasize it. And I feel like other scripts would have it where characters just sort of say it, like, throw away, like, oh, gee, that was a tough 7 hour swim. You know, that's terrible dialogue, but you know what I mean? Like, where like a character would just tell you it's been 7 hours.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not really effective enough. Like, you really need to get punched in the face that took 7 hours. And the film does that, and I think it's great.
Because it's 7 hours one way, right? That's what it was.
Yes.
So that's a 14-hour swim. It's like that's one a day. Like it was just like, oh, dude,
It was insane.
I can't even imagine that kind of physical exertion.
No, I can't either. I was thinking, and I was thinking about that the entire time I was watching it, which is a credit to the movie. I was like, how did these people really do this? Especially when, I thought it was crazy.
It's all a government hoax to make the Thailand and the cave divers make it better. Yeah.
Excellent point. Well, yeah, all the kids are dead and they like recast them.
Yeah.
But like that first swim where Colin and Vigo make it, like, I think they made it like 2/3 of the way-ish, or what ended up being, they didn't know how far they had to go.
Like T-junction or whatever.
Yes, and that ended up being like 4 hours just there. And then they sort of just popped up and they were like, oh shit, we better turn around now. Because I think like at that point, like more water started coming in. And I was like, wait, that was 4 hours? And then you've got to go 4 hours back? And they did that every time. And then it happened again where they did the first round of the rescue, where they went in and they brought their first load of boys back. And I mean, it makes perfect sense now, obviously, because it's like, who else can do this job? Like, they're the experts. They're there to do that. But then after they'd done their first round, they had just swam like, 14, 15 hours. They'd gotten out, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad their job's done now. Like, they'll get they can't, like, with the time they have left, they can't surely these two characters go and do it again. Because I'm like, oh, they'll get another diver in to finish it.
It's not like
yeah. But even still, though, I feel like you need like a week break or something. Like, it's like, oh, they figured it out. They did it first. Good for them. Another diver will come in and finish their job. No, the next day they do it again. I'm like, Jesus, oh my god. So, shout out to them, to John and Rick with their names, and everyone else, all the Thai divers and all that sort of stuff. But speaking to the accuracy of the film, which I thought was interesting, Rick Stanton, the real guy, who's Viggo Mortensen, praised the film's accuracy, saying the one cinematic change was that the cave water was really muddy and the divers had zero visibility. And he said, but that would obviously be impossible to demonstrate because the viewers cannot see anything.
I thought it was already quite bloody hard, like low visibility anyway.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being worse than that. Yeah.
I didn't even really think about it at all. But when I read that, I was like, they struck a good balance of, you can see everything, but like, it's not like they're swimming in the pristine ocean or some shit, or like a pool. Like, it did feel murky and stuff still too. Yeah. But then that only made me, reading that trivia had the double effect of that. And then also like zero, like they couldn't see anything. Oh,
and like guidelines is important.
What was important? Oh, the lines. Yeah. Totally, because it was already so crammed as it was that, it was nuts. Like, they keep bringing it up constantly. I feel like overall the film has just made me respect the situation way more than just like when you passingly hear about it on the news, which is a huge credit to it. And the amount of times they keep bringing up and the importance of not panicking. You cannot panic. You have to be totally composed. That's why it was so important. They couldn't swim with the kids. That was out of the question. And the idea of the kids waking up as well was, the idea of them waking up and then obviously freaking out if they can't swim. And even if they can, like, dude, I'd freak the fuck out. And then then killing themselves. Like, it's just terrible. And it was when who was it that like swam straight up and hit their head?
The pump mechanic at the start.
That's right. That was another really effective scene, I thought, because it was like that was the exact threat that could happen to anyone in there if they panic. Because and you could totally see how it would happen really easily. Like, you're just like, oh, lose your mind, shit, and then you've almost killed yourself right there.
One thing I'm surprised by, and it turns out it was the case for the documentary as well, is that they neglect the feud with Elon Musk.
Good point.
Because I thought that'd be just an easy like bit of kind of back and forth that you can kind of add just a bit extra to the story. but this neglects it entirely. And apparently, like I was reading the documentary, some of like the reviews for that, and apparently that neglects it entirely as well.
Hmm.
Which I think is great. You know, you don't need even more attention. So yeah, I quite like that. Yeah,
Is the documentary? Is it called The Rescue? Is it that
yeah,
one?
yeah,
Yeah, I did see that. Okay, I haven't seen it, but I saw it on IMDb. Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Actually, that's a good point. It feels like I'm not familiar enough with the situation to know like how seriously they actually considered in real life Elon's proposal, but I would assume that however much they genuinely did consider it on the ground, that the media attention of it was way more significant. Like, oh, guys, Elon Musk is coming in with his suggestions, and how cool's that? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's easy to run away with that on social media, and like it becomes a talking point amongst people who aren't actually there trying to get this shit
yeah.
done. So yeah, I think that totally would have been a distraction. Yeah.
Well, I can't remember too, like exactly what it was, or whether he was like saying that all 14 boys could have this and you can guide them through or whatever, or whether it was meant to be a tool used by like the divers. But like when you see how they actually did it, you're like, there's no way they could have used it like in any case. And
No,
like
I don't think
especially
so.
like I think like they released videos demonstrating like how it can navigate tight spaces, but like I still don't think he could navigate that cave, you know, with that little mini sub thing.
It'd be a struggle, I would have
Yeah, I
thought.
think it
Yeah.
is just like entirely impractical. Yeah.
Was that submarine like? Was he building it for this? Or like, was it? It wasn't something like he already had on hand. Oh yeah, we just got this convenient submarine already.
I mean, like he proposed that like so like this whole thing took like what 14, 16 days, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of awfully quick to kind of build and develop a, you know,
Oh,
handheld
absolutely.
submarine.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it would pass
Um,
any like regulatory tests or anything
yeah,
in that time. Yeah. I don't know. I think it was 16 days. I think, if
I can't
memory
believe it took
serves.
them 10 days to find the boys. I thought they found the boys a lot sooner than that.
Yeah, that's
The fact
another
that
thing that
they
came
didn't
back to
eat
me.
food for 10 days, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they had some shit in the backpacks from the start, but like,
No, nothing.
no, nothing,
Nothing.
dude.
Oh, I mean, there might have been nothing. Obviously, nothing significant.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
we were talking about this. Could they could have drank that water? Do you think?
I think that was like water dripping from like the ceiling that they drank, which is cleaner than the shit kicking up the
Yes.
bottom.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I think they were okay in that department.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, obviously, without eating for 10 days. Yeah.
I quite
I
like the other
do.
side of the story as well. Sorry, just
No,
about
you're
like
right.
the whole diverting the water and like that Yankee dude. That's like the damn
Totally.
expert, and that shot of them like flooding the farm, I think is so effective. Um,
Yeah.
and really like inspiring. I don't know. I thought that was awesome. Just
Yeah.
like just this gushing the rice fields. I thought that was yeah.
No, I'm really glad you said that. I totally agree. That was another little component that made like the story interesting. Where I was like, I mean, dude, I know nothing about goddamn, I don't know, what's it even called? like mountains and like how terrain and like how that shit works with water, where water moves and flows and all that sort. I don't know what you call that, whatever that is. So like I was like, oh shit, they have to ruin these people's livelihoods to divert the water.
Yeah. I mean, they got fat compensation, surely. Like, yeah.
Surely,
Yeah.
surely. That's what I thought. Like in that scene where they all like, I thought it was first of all like I don't know how accurate that was to the real conversation that took place, obviously, but like how quickly they were just like, "Oh yeah, ruin our lives or save the kids," and they were just like all about it, like very sweet, good on them.
What, you
Um,
wouldn't save the kids?
no, I'm just like, I would immediately go, "Okay, but are you going to compensate me?"
Oh, right.
I'm totally down. But like the fact they didn't even ask, like, I'm glad they did get compensated. I don't know, hopefully a lot, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But the fact that like they sort of just didn't seem to ask about it in that scene. I wonder how that actually played out, but I don't know. Either way, though, I assume that would have like that's another thing. I don't really know if they hadn't have done that, if they would have had enough time. Probably
Well,
not.
didn't they, like at the end graphic because they said the cave was completely flooded, like how soon after, like a few days after or some shit, like
That's
four
right.
days after. So like,
For months afterwards, right?
yeah, so it probably would have
Yeah,
been a bit quicker if they didn't build little dams. So
yeah. That
And
honestly
I
probably,
think
yeah.
like, didn't they say like it's important in like because it weakened the current or some shit because there wasn't like this constant kind of like
That's
inflow.
right. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it seems like it was like pretty significant to the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I also like using the like how they used the World Cup as a little bit of a like just a device to kind of keep you informed and like another device to keep you informed in like the time. You know,
Oh, okay.
like you know
Yeah.
they tell you it started, they tell you this result, they tell you the next result, they tell you this is happening, and like I don't know, it's just another and like related to obviously like the soccer team. It's I don't know, I like that they use like that was a constant recurring like kind of just mention thing.
Yeah, sure, sure. Absolutely. I didn't even notice, but I mean, now that you say it, but yeah, good point. Joel Edgerton's character, the Aussie guy, just the Aussie, he turned up. I really liked him. I thought like everything he did, his interaction with the kids every time, like he'd needle them up, and every time he'd go, "You see over there, that's John. He's the best diver in the whole world." Like he did that. I thought that was really cute every time he did that. Um, and just also something that sort of hit me. I didn't really. It felt sort of like the film just went over it quickly. Like like everything this film does, it doesn't really hang on any one emotional thing too long or anything. So you sort of just take from it what you get from it. But like even that little moment at the end for him where his dad had died,
Oh yeah.
um, I thought that was a really nice. Like it was very brief, but I just thought it was really nice to include that because that just again emphasizes the sacrifice that he's made to come all this way and. He saved these 13 kids' lives, but he's the personal loss that he suffered as a result. He couldn't be there when his dad died is significant. So I
Mm.
thought that was just another little, tip of the cap to him and another little thing to include that just again makes it all impressive.
Who did the score again?
Oh, don't know.
Ben Wolfish, right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it was him. I thought it was a bit over the top at times, but I was like, you could
Oh,
tell it was
really?
like because it felt like it was too. It felt like it was trying too hard to add tension to a real subject,
Okay. Okay.
Whereas it felt like this guy usually like does tense stuff, and if I and because I remember like thinking that when watching it, and I'm like if I remember correctly, I think he did I think he did it, and he collaborated on like later on 2049 and stuff.
Oh,
So like
really?
it makes sense to, yeah, he does like horror movies and like kind of like tennis pieces, and I'm like that makes sense. I feel like you can feel it,
He's like
and I
not
think it would
used
have
to
been
toning
okay
it
to like
down.
pared back just a tiny bit, just to kind of
Yeah, yeah. I feel that. I get that. I liked the score. I made note that I liked it. I thought it was sort of it just added to the tension overall. Like it was actually a weird mix of like sometimes we don't notice the score and it sort of just works in the background, and then other times we like really notice the score and it like really enhances our enjoyment of the film. This is sort of middle weird spot where like and maybe that's what you're speaking to, where like I noticed it but thought it was just contributing nicely, you know. But it was noticeable though. Like, yeah, maybe it shouldn't have been so noticeable. That's a good point. I don't know. But I did quite like it. And I also just liked a lot of the um like the sound design underwater. Like there's a lot of all the movement of the currents and the clanking of equipment. Thought it was all quite good. Shout out to the sound designers who have to like clank equipment and shit. Good for them. All the Foley people out there.
every time like I don't know like how sensitive those like tanks are, but every time they scrape, I'm like, oh shit, is that gonna burst or something? I'm like, fuck, I was like, jeez.
Every time they what?
Every time like the tank would like scrape or like bang on like a
Oh yeah,
rock,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, damn.
100%. That's exactly what I mean. Yeah, totally. And then that time, like for that guy that died, like when that did happen,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
For a
that's
sec,
probably why
like
it's like
for
that.
like the briefest second, I don't know why it crossed my mind because obviously like it's a factual like retelling, but like when the kids mentioned that there's something in the cave, I was like, holy shit, there's something in the cave. And I was like, wait, no, there's not. It's a yeah.
Can you imagine if, like, the composer, that's why he was doing that, because he knew what was coming. This is a
Yeah.
horror film. You thought this is going to subvert your expectations hard. goddamn it guy. What's his name? Clown.
Benjamin Wallfish. Oh, do you mean like the?
The
Do you mean the
character.
composer? Oh,
No, what's the clown guy? What's his name?
Pennywise.
Pennywise is in the cave too. He's
Yeah.
in there. Yeah, that'd be crazy. I would have commended Rod Howard for that. 5 stars immediately.
Imagine how
Um,
bold of it, like that would either work so well or just completely ruin it. Like just this sudden change up, like it'd be. I think it'd definitely be talked about. I mean, like that's for sure. It'd be talked about for a long time.
yeah, that's genius. Like someone's surely done that. I don't know, but I've never seen that. Where like, but it also, I don't know, in a weird way, like it can't be just one of those situations where it's like, oh, there's a twist midway through the movie or something. Like everything needs to fully commit to that. Like the marketing, the poster, or the trailers. Like everything needs to be totally in unison to execute something like that effectively. Where it's
Yeah.
like it could feasibly have. Obviously, I don't like. I'm not saying I wanted this to happen in this movie, but like in this hypothetical scenario, like you do all the same everything that you did pre-release, and then you just drop the movie, and that's it, and then you let everyone sort of discover it for themselves. And I'd just love to see like how that would work, because yeah, it could honestly be incredible if it's done well. But I also don't know if you'd want to do it in a scenario where it's. But then it might. I don't know. Like how crazy would it be if it were a premise that's based on a true story? But then you obviously then completely throw the true story out the window, and that's the whole point.
I think it'd be awesome. I really think that'd be.
I think
It just has to be treated like deli. I think honestly, I think it'd be ruined just by like modern day kind of mass communication, and like if you don't see it,
That's
like
true.
almost immediately, it'll be spoiled. Actually, probably if you don't see it on like first release, like media outlets would mention it straight away in their review.
Yes.
It's like it'd be out there immediately, so like it'd be hard to pull off in the modern day, but like I think like it'd be so effective, man.
Yeah, it would be hard, but maybe it could be. I don't know. I feel like it could be done, especially for the streamers. Like I feel like the streamers could pull it off where they drop something. Maybe the key is not to market it. I don't know. Like I feel like it's possible if they were to drop something. And then I feel like social media users, for the most part, if there's no anticipation for something, if there's no like, communal excitement that everyone's going to watch this film, and then because then obviously they're going to share their thoughts on it right away. But if it's a situation where it's just this thing that shadow drops, and then people find it and realize, and then like people can then recommend it, where they're just like, just watch it, because no one has any understanding of what it is anyway.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
I think you might honestly like need like a disclaimer at the end if you were to do that, just to like say, please don't say
By the way,
yeah.
By the way, the shit past minute 36 didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Anyway, Amazon, give us a call. We'll figure out something.
Next film. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take on Beaconsfield. We'll retell Beaconsfield again. And like just halfway through, the miners are about to get out, and like just something Lovecraftian just pops out of the dirt.
What's Beacons? I don't know what Beaconsfield, like what that event is.
Where like the mine collapsed, right?
This is, oh my god, this is so deep in my memory.
I think it was a Channel 9 film, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's got Shane Jacobson in it.
Yes, it does, and I've seen that.
Yeah, it's just called Beaconsfield. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's on
the
Prime.
service you've just done me the greatest service anyone can do, and that's remind me of a film I've seen. That's incredible. Thank you so much. Yeah, we need to do that. MGM now, because that's Amazon now. MGM. Give us a call. Do you reckon this film? I was surprised. I don't think it's been talked about very much, and I just don't. Like, I was surprised. This is a Ron Howard joint. This is a Amazon release that had, a significant cast, a significant budget, seemingly. Like, were you surprised at the lack of coverage around this one? Because I was, personally.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was like a B-tier film. And like that's why I just thought Viggo was the only star. And I think I only heard about Ron Howard being attached to it like a few weeks ago when I first heard you guys talk about it or something. So like, yeah, this definitely went,
I never saw it like in the usual sort of trending Letterboxd position for any new big streaming film. That's sort of no brainer for that. But
oh no, it was because as soon as it came out, I think I was looking at Prime. I don't know for whatever reason, but like it was in like the top one spot for
Oh,
for,
cool.
for a few times.
Okay.
But like, I just feel like it didn't still get talked about the way it.
Hmm. Yeah, I was just wondering about it because I wonder if it was a product of the MGM Amazon acquisition where this was meant to be a theatrical release under MGM, and then Amazon sort of just took over and this was already happening, and then they just shat it out on Prime. So, yeah, I was just trying to figure out why it had so little buzz.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Very good, Jaden. What's your final verdict of 13 Lives?
A very strong 8. Yeah, I don't know. It's really good. Shocked me. Maybe that's why it's that high, but like it genuinely shocked me and as to its quality. So yeah, for sure 8.
Cool. Yep, I'm right there with you. I'll give it an 8. When I finished it, like, I don't know, I sort of thought I'd give it a 7, but not that I felt any differently. I was sort of like, oh yeah, it's a 7, but no, it's got, fuck me, it's an 8. I totally agree. I'm right there with everything we've said so far. Agree with everything you've said, and yeah, it's great. Check it out. Definitely a top contender for me this year so far. And
Ooh.
Zoe, please. No. What did you say? All two? Were you like trying to
It's a
lay
top
out your?
contender. Yeah.
I feel like well, you said you were more engaged in it than a while, right? Than you watched any other film. Quite some time.
That is true. I don't know. I just feel like this is it's been a surprisingly strong year for me in terms of films I like.
Mm.
So I'm like, would it get to the top 5?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not topping the Batman, but
No.
well, maybe it does. No. Let's get into news chat. We've got just the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey trailer, which Jaden saw, and I really regret not seeing. But
I just
how was it?
like I just hope you know what type of movie, because you've spoken about being an avid Winnie the Pooh fan, and I just hope you're aware that this is a C tier horror film that is being made, purely because it is just open IP at this point.
Yes.
Like, if you like, the acting is going to be shocking, the story is going to be bare bones and all that, and you get the essence of it in the trailer, but it is going to be very well because of the premise.
Yeah.
It, I mean, the trailer was good. I mean, it was. It's like rather typical, like, kind of B tier, C tier kind of horror stuff that you expect. I think the cast is probably a little too tight, and it's probably going to lose some tension because you already see one kill in the trailer, so it kind of it makes it the fact that there's only going to be so few people running around, it's like it's going to remove some of that thing of like, when's the next person going to die, because as much as there is like a lot of cannon fodder in horror films of people that just die quick, you kind of need it to kind of constantly pace the kind of effect of it. So in having like such a tight knit cast, like it'll be interesting to see how they go with like the tension throughout the film. But no, I mean, I don't know, it's seems alright for me. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I've never seen the whole me being an avid Winnie the Pooh fan. I don't know. It's like I think Winnie the Pooh's charming. I like Winnie the Pooh. I'm not like it's one of those things where like I'm not like so attached to Winnie the Pooh that I'd be like offended this is made or anything like that. If anything, like my love for Winnie the Pooh makes me want to watch this more. Like just because I think it's like I like Winnie the Pooh. I think it's cute, and the idea of this existing is just funny to me. So like I'll check it out. Is it meant to be like a streaming thing or
I actually don't know.
surely not theatrical?
Oh yeah, there's no way they can get this theatrical released. I can't remember if something popped up at the end of the trailer. I assume it's probably going to go to like, probably like in Australia, probably like one of the Prime Video channels now, like probably like to like Shudder or like,
Oh,
I don't know,
yeah.
something like that.
That makes sense. Yeah, it could even just be like straight to digital and then comes to a streaming service a few months later or something.
Yeah, probably.
Rent it for $29.95, or you can do SD for $26.95. I think I literally one time saw on Foxtel like the standard definition and high definition options were like $1 difference. I was like, why do they even bother?
Why would you even rent a film?
You got me. You got me. We rented Elvis, is what we did. That's what it was, I think, because it was express release because it was still in the
Uh,
theater. It's like, well, we can go to the theater or we can just not, you know.
well, how much is it to rent a film?
Elvis was $30, and
Bro, just go to. Oh,
three of us watched it. It's cheaper.
well, by like $3 if you go to ratings and get $11 tickets.
Are they still $11?
No, probably.
I'm not sure. I mean, even if they are though, like we still have to drive there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Just watch it right now. Watch it right here.
you're paying $30 for a. All right, yeah, I don't know, man. All right, like I just think you either buy it or you stream it, and that's it. I mean, like the whole like renting thing. To me, it died with Blockbuster,
Oh, okay.
or like all the other like Video Easy and like all that shit. We used to rent
Yeah.
films a bit, but like once you stop renting physical copies, I'm like, the kind of excitement of it is gone, and you're like, why would you rent it anymore? It's like,
I get that. We've been long time renters though. I've always sort of seen its place as this middle ground between the theatrical release and then the streaming drop. Because there's always that middle space where like it's on you can watch it at home, but you can't it's not going to come to a streaming thing for 6 months. Unless it's Disney
yeah,
Plus where they just put it on immediately. So that doesn't make any sense. But for other things, I feel like it's this good middle ground where like you can rent it for like usually $7 or, you know, sort of watch
yeah.
it a bit sooner. So I feel like it sort of has its place. But all right, let's get into our highlights of the week. Jaden, what have you been watching?
Have you seen the game?
No.
No.
Did Fitzy watch it this week too?
Did you
Or
watch it this week? I think you watched it recently, but
oh, okay. Is there a reason for that? Like you both
it
watched it
came on
recently?
Netflix recently.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I guess we'll talk about that. It was quite banging. It was. I don't know. It was good. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. I don't know how to talk about it.
It's Fincher. How Fincher
It's
is it when you watch it?
it's very Fincher while not being like, like it's while not being like, I don't know, Fincher. um, because of how psychological it is, it's kind of not something I kind of expect from him. Um, but then like the kind of way it kind of ties up, you're like, oh yeah, kind of, yeah, makes sense. Um, it is endlessly like just enjoyably watchable because like you are, as the audience, left quiet, like guessing like massively as to what is real, what is not. Like sometimes you can tell. Like I thought it'd be a case of you as a viewer would be able to tell what's real and what's not, and it'd just be what's his face trying to figure it out.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. But no, it does, like, even for the audience, it is kind of mind-bendingly hard to kind of guess where the game ends, where it starts, what's going on here, who's in control, where's that, what's happening here, how far does this go, so it is fantastic in that regard. It is just a great film as well, just really, and the kind of way it just keeps on escalating, like when you kind of think it can't really go any further, and the way that it kind of like the paranoia that Michael Douglas feels is just conveyed so well, to the point where, like, you as the audience are just genuinely paranoid. Like you are as much as paranoid as he is, probably even more, because you're kind of trying to, as the audience, you're trying to like guess that little bit ahead of the film. So you're always you always kind of think like, oh, is this person, that person, this person, and like then he has that same thought, and you're like, oh shit. Um, no, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, Fincher has a very strong filmography anyway, so like I wouldn't necessarily like class it as being amongst the lower ones, probably, but like that's just 'cause, like, how strong the rest of it is. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely like not a bad film in any way. Um, yeah.
I get that. I get that. Very, very good. Okay. What have I been watching? I've watched not much, man. I watched more Succession and it's awesome, but I watched well, we watched House of the Dragon. We can talk about it if you had anything to say about the second
I
episode.
haven't seen the second episode.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I would. Do I say? No, I won't say. I was going to say that. That's okay. That's okay. Damn. There was like one. There was like just one. It's not even like a story thing. There's just one thing they do that I was sort of like thought was interesting
Oh,
and worth
bro,
talking about.
I was bloody spoiled for House of the Dragon because a bloody clip from Game of Thrones came up on TikTok, and it's just Joffrey literally saying like what happens,
Oh,
and like it's like the worst kind of thing that could happen where like this dude obviously posted it for this reason to just spoil it, and it is just
right.
Joffrey just talking to I don't know someone, and
He's
he's
just
trying to
like
prove a
dropping
point.
exposition about like what happened
Y-
to with the Targaryens back in
Yeah,
the day.
yeah,
Right.
and it
Right.
just explicitly says what's going to happen in the show, and I'm like, why the fuck would you? Yeah,
That's so shit. That's so terrible. What a terrible thing to
and that's
do.
why lucky
To
you didn't
post that.
watch. Why you didn't do like you didn't do the rewatch of Game of Thrones because then you would have been spoiled
Yeah,
for
yeah,
House of
yeah,
the Dragon.
100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I've been scared of. Like I've said that a few times, where like I know at some point, probably 2 or 3 years ago, I knew the spoilers to this show, and I've forgotten them, and I want to keep them that way.
Yeah.
But God, that's gonna. Oh, I didn't actually know though that they like when I say that, I sort of thought that's because I'm sure they're in the books. I didn't know like the show actually explicitly said it too. That's even harder now. Like that's a G. God.
Yeah.
God damn it. If one more reason to hate Joffrey. Nice. All right. Well, that's all then. Let's go to our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what is the masterclass that you'd watch first? Is what it was. Excellent question. I had such a hard time picking this morning, I'm not going to lie. But who we got here? We got Andy. Andy said, a masterclass I would like to watch the most is Werner Herzog's because the man seems like he's just a great eye for images. He's just got a great eye for images, sorry. I'm looking forward to checking out his films and seeing his cinematic style take place in front of me. There's a part in the course where he talks about a book called, The Peregrine by J.A. Baker. And he
I
made
think
me
it's
want to buy it.
Peregrine, as in like
The
Peregrine
Peregrine?
Falcon.
Oh, that makes way more sense. Yeah, the Peregrine. And he made me want to buy it. Also, when Herzog was in The Mandalorian, I'm pretty sure, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. No, he was. He sure was. He was there. But wait, so are you saying? Is Andy saying he's seen it? Because he's saying he wants to watch it first, but then he's explicitly defining the content of the course.
No clue.
That's pretty magical. Wow, that's wild. Good for you, Andy. If you have seen it though, let me know what you thought. Because I don't know, I'm the more and more I scroll through Masterclass, I'm like, I feel like I need to do a month of this. Luke said, if I was ever going to watch a masterclass, I would want it to be something that really creates an atmosphere. Yeah, here we go, Jane, just getting through the obligatory here. Something like two French horns up in the gallery on the left and right, two notes, but the expressiveness. If there was only a masterclass for that, yeah, I agree. But then thank God Luke did also have an answer, and that was probably Neil deGrasse Tyson's masterclass on science communication. Does that mean what does that mean? Science communication, like talking about science?
Probably because you know how like Neil deGrasse has done like a bunch of programs just like explaining like science for like the casual audience. It's probably about that. It's probably like
Oh, that's cool.
how to make science interesting for the casual enjoyer. It's something along
Right.
those lines, probably.
That would be perfect for Luke.
Yeah.
Like how smart people can explain interesting things to dumb people. The course.
Exactly.
That's cool. I like that a lot. That's nice. All right, Jaden, what did you come up with?
There's a lot of interesting masterclasses, like you already said.
There really is.
The thing is, I think a lot of them aren't going to be very useful. Like Natalie Portman teaching acting is never going to be a useful course because it's not something that you can just teach in a 2.5 hour time, just by talking about it. And like same goes for like the filmmaking ones. Like you can't just teach filmmaking just like that. You can give an essence. You can break down how you do it. But like I'm not going to be able to make a film after hearing James Cameron talk about it for a few hours. So that's why I think like something that's like actually like the actual like kind of like the ones where you can actually learn are probably like the more valuable ones. For me personally, like the most useful one would be Frank Gehry talking about design and architecture.
Oh yeah,
that's directly applicable to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd for sure go for like that one first. But But the ones that the ones that can explicitly teach you something, like Tom Morello teaching guitar, or Chris Hadfield talking about space exploration, as opposed to something that is a creative process that can't be taught but has to be, learned from yourself. Yes, you can take elements from what these people talk about, but like it's never going to be as full of a kind of experience as something that can be directly taught through these short videos.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Is like, do you know who that Gary guy is?
Yeah, he's probably like one of the most famous designers of like that's still alive. Like
Oh,
he did,
fantastic.
yeah, he's a little bit unconventional, a little bit deconstructionist. He's quite talented.
Oh, fantastic. It's
I
great
think
he's
he's
got
even
one.
featured in like a Simpsons episode. Like he's that well known.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, like if like
God, the Simpsons guy, yeah.
I don't know, like if you know an architect of the modern day, like people just tend to know Frank Jerry,
Cool.
Gary,
Wait, I called him Gary?
Gehry. I feel like I've heard people say Jerry and Gary.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
But I just said Gary, though. So I was just
so
blatantly wrong in every way.
nah, it's fine. Yeah, I'm sure he's
Yeah,
alright with it.
I'm glad you think so. Yeah, you raised a good point about the utility of them. Like I don't know, I never really I don't think I'd watch them with like the intent of, oh yeah, once I'm done with these I'm gonna know how to make a film necessarily. I totally agree with that. So like I just wanted to look at just some insight I'd enjoy,
I
or
think that
just
would be still like
get some
pretty
tips.
valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. So I was sort of deciding, and dude, I don't know, it was so hard. Like Spike Lee was there and that was cool. But like I don't know, for me, like the top three directors that stood out to me was like Marty was there, of course, and James Cameron was there, and like those would be. I definitely, if I got a subscription, I'd watch those for sure. But I feel like I don't know, just for me, I've like there are countless hours of James Cameron and Marty Scorsese interviews on YouTube, and I've seen a lot, so I feel like I feel like I get them. I'm just basically buds. I'm buds with them already. You know what I mean? So. Not to tie it in with today too much, but I'd probably pick Ron Howard, to be honest. I feel like, especially if I'm going to watch the one I'm going to watch first, especially because I feel like it's what we talked about at the start. Like he's just so fundamentally sound. Like he just understands like the pure basics down to a like 100% like faultless degree, and then that's so perfect then to build on. I feel like it makes a lot of sense to start there, and I just appreciate his insight as well. I haven't really heard him. There might be interviews I haven't really dug into them, but I'd just be interested to see what he's done. I think um, I've seen an ad for his, and like it was quite good actually because he sort of breaks down like how he prefers to like direct actors and stuff, and that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, or like how you can really, because everyone has their own method, I'm sure, but like that point specifically, he's like, oh yeah, I'll show you how to direct actors, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, cool. So yeah, no, probably Ron Howard I'd check out first, but then yeah, you got to go with the others as well. There's a ton. See, I'd watch the Hans one for, well, Luke could watch it for like meme value. I'd watch it just because it's Hans and it's like, dude, give me some insight on how you make this shit.
I
But
know.
like, I haven't really got any aspirations to be a composer, so like, I probably wouldn't have the educational value. So I'd probably watch that like sixth or something.
I think he like does like directly teach you how to make. Because like I remember for like watching from the trailer, I can't remember if I mentioned this
Oh,
last week. But,
is it the iPad line?
yeah. He says a kid
Yeah.
in his iPad can compose the next like best score. So like I think he does like kind of teach you like a fundamental type of thing with that one. If you
That'd win me over for
Mm.
sure. Imagine if he's just like, okay, everyone, download GarageBand. Go to the App Store. I'm like, oh, sweet. Nice.
Hans, I don't have an iPad. We'll figure it out.
I'm like, Hans, I'm going to write into Hans. Hans, I'm like 3 steps ahead of this. Have you heard the Cinema Effect intro sequence? Right. I'm like, light years are past your dumb course. All right. Okay. Very good. As always, we'd love you to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's episode in the YouTube comment section. Send us a DM on Instagram or join the Discord server. This week, we're asking you, what is your favorite sci-fi aesthetic? Let us know. Give us examples. Do whatever you like. Explain it however you like. There are plenty of answers though, and Jaden, I'm so excited for Jaden to break it down next week. He's gonna have all the terms in place. It's gonna be great.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yep. Big expectations from me.
Yeah, huge expectations. Yeah, I actually just only said that so hoping you'd do extra research and like come in with a whole prepared argument. Anyway, we've also got a poll going on. So Jade and I going head to head. It is worth noting that it should be Fitzy and me going head to head, but since he's not here, he's forfeited all control and his victory last time. So I'm shrugging for those who can't see, which is everyone. I'm shrugging. Okay, Jaden, what's your poll nominee?
I've had like the streaming pages open this entire time, just going back and forth, looking at them to try and pick a film. Because I'm like, do I want to pick a winner, or do I want to pick something interesting? You know, I'm like, I don't
That's
know.
always the dilemma.
Yeah,
always.
And it's like
you got to find both.
All right, I'm gonna go with Constantine, 2005 Keanu Reeves DC. I'll do Constantine.
Interesting. I've heard of that. Okay, very good. I'm nominating The Hurt Locker. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. Not recently?
No, not too recently. No, I don't think so.
Okay. I wanted to be careful of that, but yeah. All right, there we go. We got our two picks: The Hurt Locker versus Constantine. Go to check out the Instagram page, probably 24 hours or so after this episode goes live, and cast your vote on our story. And then the winner we will review in 2 weeks' time from this release. So go and do that. Let your voice be heard. All right, that's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Jaden, what are we doing next week?
Next week we are reviewing Gattaca. It is on Stan, for sure. I know that much. I don't know if it's on other stuff. Do you, Vinny?
I don't know.
Yeah, Stan. Just go to Stan. You don't need anything else.
No, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Gattaca. Yeah, great. Get excited. All right. Yeah, that's it, everyone. Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. We appreciate you tuning in. Thanks, Jaden, for joining me. And no thanks for Liam, of course.
I feel like we didn't acknowledge that he was missing until the very end.
No. I also, but I feel like that's become a regular thing. We don't necessarily acknowledge it.
Right.
I think the last few times we haven't acknowledged it. I don't think you acknowledged I was missing in Parasite, for example, until it just came up naturally or whatever. You didn't explicitly outline it at the start, if I recall.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember.
I could also be completely wrong about that, but
I think full of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I feel like we don't need to acknowledge it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's become
We all just it's not like a slight. We just all universally accept if we're not here, we don't acknowledge it. People can figure it out. It's fine. All on an even playing field. Okay, that's it for real. We'll see you all next time. Take care and goodbye.